Hello and welcome to episode number 33 of the Real Life Podcast. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. It is the Christmas special, and today we're going to be joined by three people at once for the very first time. I'm going to be joined by my friends Novie, Zach Williams and Al-Tuhafi, and this is going to be quite a big one. Gonna make this the Christmas special because we've been planning to do an episode together, all three of us, for about 20 years, and we've almost got it done a million times, so finally getting around to it feels like a cause for celebration. So I thought, let's make it a worthwhile endeavour, let's make it a big topic. Today we are going to talk through our favourite top 5 movie characters of all time. They can be based on a number of criteria: how iconic they are, how much they mean to us, how good the performance is, how much they aid the film. So this really could go anywhere. We could get a vast array of a number of characters today, and I'm really hoping we do. Also, what with all of film being available in this discussion, there may well be some characters that we miss out and don't get time to discuss, but that's how the cookie crumbles, and these are the ones that meant stuff to us that we could think and bring to mind when we sat down to try and do this. So I do hope you have a wonderful Christmas and you enjoy listening to this episode. The amount of people listening this year has genuinely meant the world to me, even though we aren't rocking with huge numbers, but I did just want to say a very quick thank you, and I hope you are all getting something out of these podcasts, whether it be entertainment, information, or just something to stick on to mindlessly give your brain something to focus on while you're not concentrating. There will be plenty more of these podcasts to come, do not worry, and I will catch you again in the new year. But for now, get a hot drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the 2024 Christmas special of the Real Life Podcast, where we're going to talk through our top 5 favourite characters in all of film. Everyone happy with lists?
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Finally.
Right. So who does have honourable mentions?
I have honourable mentions.
Zach and Amir and me. Everyone but Ella has honourable mentions.
Okay, Dom, why don't you take it with honourable mentions?
Right, okay. Well, fine. I will do... I've cheated slightly again. So, Namir, do you remember when I was doing film scores and I had like 2 categories of honourable mentions?
Yeah.
I've sort of done the same thing.
Okay.
So, category 1 is just ones that like I love. And then category 2 is the ones that were nearly actually in the top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that I love are Julia Roberts as Erin Brockovich,
Oh, yeah.
Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly,
Fantastic.
Robert Pattinson as Connie Nikas in Good Time, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Toby Jones as Neil Baldwin in Marvelous, that's an obscure one.
Wow.
Yes.
Shemake Moore as Miles Morales.
There he is.
And then Simon Pegg as Sergeant Nicholas Angel.
Oh, he was originally in my top 5.
Right, okay, well there we go.
He's not anymore.
Zach, give us your honourable mentions first, and then we'll
Okay.
come back round to my second character.
So I don't have too many. But I've got one of them's from TV, because you told me that I couldn't put someone from TV in my top 5.
I did add the stipulation.
So that one is Tywin Lannister, played by Charles Dance.
Okay.
Because if a character dies and then the show goes to shit, that's a pretty good sign it's a good character. The next is Fletcher from Whiplash, played by J.K. Simmons, brilliantly.
Next
is from the Emoji Movie, it's Patrick Stewart Poop Emoji.
What?
Always going to be
That's
one.
ridiculous.
Sorry,
That's
guys,
ridiculous.
listen, I am taking this very seriously. Next is Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver from Alien and Aliens. And then my final one is the horse that drowned, A Never-Ending Story. Because that left a lasting
That's
impression
so
on
sad.
me.
Yeah.
And I was terrified of that movie growing up, fun fact. Anyway, Namir.
Okay. First one of my honourable mentions is also Fletcher. I've got it.
Good.
I thought that there would be a bit of crossover there.
Rocky Balboa. The other mother from Coraline.
Ooh.
You guys know that I hate Coraline because of how scared I was as a kid, but any character that could traumatize me for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
That's good going.
Good, that's, John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Kat Stratford from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's such a fun.
I was thinking about Heath Ledger's character from that
Yeah,
film.
I just...
I
something
love
about
Cat.
Cat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray from mid-90s.
I thought you were going to say Ray,
Oh,
Ray from
cool.
Star Wars, and I was like, no.
Not allowed. Off the pod.
Yes.
Off the pod.
I've put the last of my honourable mentions as Spider-Man, because everyone here knows
In
how much I
general.
love
Yes,
Spider-Man.
yes.
Just a general
I
Spider-Man?
couldn't pin it down
Of course.
Okay.
to one.
But I
like that. I like
I
that
almost
rationale.
had Batman in there. Just to be
Yeah.
like,
As a
Exactly.
general
So-
Batman, yeah.
But if you had to have a Batman in there, which one would you put?
Pattinson.
Really?
I don't think he's had long enough.
I can back that.
Right. See,
Really?
I just think
I respect the point. Yeah.
his balance between Bruce Wayne and Batman is
not there.
No, but for early years, Batman, that's
it makes a ton more sense in that they're kind of really similar, and that's the whole point of Batman, is that they are the same person. Bruce Wayne thinks that they're not, they're different.
Yeah.
They are the same person eventually.
Yes,
I slightly disagree, but I see your point.
There's something about the Christian Bale performance which just gets a little bit like...
Especially in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I saw a point about the Christian Bale Batman today that was saying, like, when I started liking Batman, I didn't want like a grounded take because I didn't go to like comic books for like a grounded version or something.
It's like he's Batman.
It's a cool concept, and I love it as that, and I think they're great films, but Batman,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Thing
Good
about
job,
Christian
guys.
Bale having to say a sentence longer than 3 words, and it just doesn't work. All right,
It's
okay.
tough for him.
I'll run through these because these are the ones that I nearly put in the top
Okay.
5, but I'll just name them. So Robin Williams as Sean Maguire in Good Will Hunting.
I literally, I almost put that on my list.
Jeff Bridges as Marcus Hamilton, Hell or High Water. Ben Foster as Tanner Howard in Hell or High Water. Pam Grier as Jackie Brown in Jackie Brown. Michael Sheen as Brian Clough in The Damned United. Gary Oldman as Norman Stansfield in Leon the Professional. That was inches away from being
one of my favourite villains in film history.
Isn't he just the best?
Fantastic.
Adam Sandler as Howard Ratner in Uncut Gems. Christoph Waltz as Haslander in Inglourious Bastards. This one. Rowan Atkinson as Johnny English.
That's so real.
You'll hear no argument from this group.
Good, I'm glad.
real.
I was gonna put him.
Once you hear my top 5, you'll see why there's no argument.
Right. Saoirse Ronan as Lady Bird. J.K. Simmons as Terence Fletcher in Whiplash. Steve Carell as John DuPont in Foxcatcher, which is a movie I love. Both Peter Mullen and Olivia Colman from Tyrannosaur, because I think both of them play off each other really nicely. And then Forrest Whitaker as Idi Amin in The Last King of Scotland.
Damn.
Those are all ones that I was like, oh, I could put them in. On a different day, any one of those could go in.
Well, that's the thing, because the thing that I struggle with this top 5 is that it's so subjective. Yeah. Because it's not only characters that I haven't put in the list that I think that I should have. It's also things that I have put in the list that tomorrow I might be like,
you idiot.
I've changed something like 5 minutes ago.
I changed one this evening.
Before I set off to come here, I was battling with what was number 1. I had all the rest of the 4 spots filled going, God, what's my favourite character?
My number 1 was always solid. Okay. But
I literally just ordered mine right now, so mine's completely not solid.
That's just because you're disorganised. That's okay.
We've all got a quote, am I right now?
Yeah.
We've all got a quote for each of our top 5. And the way we're going to do it is the person's going to read the quote out and then we'll all have a guess, see if we can recognise who it is. So, in the spirit of being gentlemanly, Namir, no I'm kidding, Alex, you tell us the quote for your number 5 and we'll see if we can guess what it is.
Right, that makes it... Okay. You don't have to be the bad guy. You're the most talented, most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe. This is a rogue one.
You don't have to be the bad guy makes me think of Wreck-It Ralph.
It's a similar vein, sort
is
of.
It Penelope Bush?
No.
Someone that Billie Eilish doesn't like very much.
I've got no idea.
I'm tapped out.
Outside of Patrick Stewart in the Emoji Movie.
So Emmett from the Lego Movie.
Oh.
See, similar vein to Wreck-It Ralph. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you went too far off.
No, well, I just think he's like, I just think the Lego Movie on so many levels reached my parents loved it. Every single age loved it. And also, he was like a normal guy. And like, obviously there's a lot of movies that have normal guys in it, but I just, as a Lego figure, and he's a normal guy, and it just like, it's Legos, but everyone relates to him, and everyone loves every moment of him, and he's just like a real chill guy, and he's literally a Lego figure.
He so is.
I love that pick, but the only thing I would say against it is it did start the Chris Pratt playing every voice role.
There is that. It's like, we're doing an animated film about World War II. Is Chris Pratt for it? No.
Can we have him for Churchill?
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember that famous speech that Churchill gave? We'll fight them on the beaches.
Mario, is that you?
Emmett's so like relentlessly positive. Like particularly at the start, that like you can't help but just get on board.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is. He's just a little guy. I love it. I love him. I just think he's a great like main character because he's such not a main character, and that's. So that's why I think it's.
And he goes on a journey.
He goes on a journey.
He
becomes because he goes from being just every other guy to being the most important Lego man in the universe.
Prophecies a lot.
But he stays true to
Incredible,
himself.
man.
It's just great. I love guys rewatch.
The Lego Movie is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I might rewatch that over the next week.
I've rewatched it so many times. It's one of those movies that I just like will be like,
Hang on, let's pause the recording and we can watch the Lego Movie.
And then we can
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Ella's fifth favourite episode. I'm going to leave, so go on then, Zach, let's do it.
Okay, let me have another look at my rankings because,
Oh my
as I
God.
say, one of them. Yeah. So my number 5 character doesn't have a line. So what I'm gonna do.
Right, we play the famously podcast-worthy game of charades.
Yeah. So what I'm doing currently is flapping.
Flapping his arms around.
aggressive.
Is it the Eagles from Lord of the Rings?
No. Don't be
I
ridiculous.
know who this is,
It is
so I'm
not.
gonna
Yeah,
guess.
you can't
I'm not
say
guessing.
anything.
Eddie the Eagle. No.
No.
You're gonna hit me.
I can't think of a mute bird in a film.
It's well.
It's not a
What if I
bird.
told you
It's a
it wasn't a
dragon.
bird?
Toothless.
It is toothless.
Oh, what a shout!
So Toothless is my number 5 pick, and I've picked him because I think he is an expert example of character design, and an expert example of how a character who doesn't have any lines can use its movement and its sounds to endear you to it. I think a lot of the reason why that was so successful is because they used, when they were animating, they used reference of cats. So they used a bunch of cats and they filmed them just
that
going around
makes
the
sense.
studios and stuff. And they used that, and I think that sometimes they like keyframe animated what the cats were doing so that they could then like go in and use that on some of the Toothless animations. And it just works so well because you can't,
No wonder you love it.
like, that film does not work if you don't kind of join in with the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless.
Yeah.
And if you don't buy into all of that, and you have to like Toothless to buy into all that,
Sure.
and you do.
Yeah.
And that's why
Good
he's my
pick.
number 5 pick.
Well, I had a black cat with green eyes.
From
the spitting image of Toothless.
Oh,
So,
did you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like,
that's.
it's a really weird comparison to draw that, but it makes me the way you describe it there makes me think of Margot Robbie in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Because the big
Very interesting.
Yeah, Toothless
No,
and
I
Margot
I'm
Robbie.
staying
completely
with
understand
you.
what you're saying because
I wanna-
that film doesn't work if you don't buy into Sharon Tate being
Yeah.
a lovely person.
Exactly, and
And
everyone
she
says,
isn't on
"Oh,
screen very
she's got
much."
nothing to do. She's not on screen. She doesn't have many lines." And it's like, well, that
Yeah.
implies that people only have presence if they're actually talking.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
the point of her role is actually to just prove what a lovely person
Yeah.
Sharon Tate was.
Yeah.
And yeah, you totally get on board with that from there. So I think that may end up being one of the smartest picks that anyone does. To be honest.
Oh, listen, guys.
Okay, don't big him up that
sorry.
Don't
Calm
boost
down.
his ego.
I'll come back on anytime. So.
I'm available. Namir, do you have a line for us, or are you going to do some mime?
Mime.
My line is, she used to fart in her sleep.
That's Robin Williams.
That's Robin Williams in Good Will
Oh,
Hunting.
from Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
When you mentioned that he was in your honourable mentions, I was really chuffed because I literally just moved him out of my honourable mentions into number 5. Yeah, he's just a wholesome man. Everything that Will needs at the time. He's sweet. He's lovely. But he's got a bit of edge to him.
Yeah. He's everything I want from my therapist.
Exactly. I need my therapist to sometimes like check me. Say
Yeah.
Let's crack on.
And like grant me 3 wishes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that would be great.
Different film. Strange.
Shit, am I getting my Robin Williams mixed
Matt
up?
Damon walks in and has to rub the chair. That's the great thing about that part is like that scene where he talks about his wife and stuff was I think totally improvised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can
Was
see
it?
the camera
Yeah.
starts shaking because the cameramen are laughing behind the camera
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well, and so it really just like all of Matt Damon's laughing stuff is real. And all
Yeah.
that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's
Robin
kind of the
Williams,
part is
man.
indicative of Robin Williams. I feel like.
Yeah. And the other quote I was going to use was it doesn't matter if she's not like perfect, it just matters if she's perfect for you. But I feel like the she farts in her sleep one it's more.
It's also love.
It's also
It is,
exactly.
it is.
No, that's exactly the point. It's also love, but it's
Yeah.
just so much more personal. It's the other side of love
Yeah.
that you just love him for bringing up and mentioning.
Yeah.
That's what you remember.
Well, he's the grounding presence that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck really need. I think that, like they're so kind of wild and hot-headed and slightly angry, but
Yeah.
like really.
They're from Boston.
Well, exactly. They run people up the wrong way. And then he comes in and is like, yeah, the perfect emotional grounding for the pair of them. And then obviously wins the Oscar. And there's that great moment where they all go and hug and stuff. And Yeah, I think that's a really that's a good choice. Yeah. I think there's no one in the world that would watch that film and then begrudge you for.
Yeah, I almost put it in my top 5.
Yeah.
So.
Right, Dom.
Okay.
Give us your line.
I don't know if you'll get this, but we'll see.
Probably not.
Well, I'll tell you. He's tied up, and I'm the one who tied him.
So
is it Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
Is it
Reservoir Dogs?
No.
Is it Hateful Eight?
No, he
Is
doesn't
it
like
Tarantino?
it.
It's not correct. It's not Tarantino.
Okay. Can you give us a clue?
I can. It's everything Joker tried, dreamed to be. Nelly.
King of Comedy.
King of Comedy.
Yes!
Wow. Robert De Niro as Rupert Pupkin in The King of Comedy. The genius of that is that when he comes to do the stand-up, he's just okay at it. He's so average and like completely sort of unnoteworthy.
Yeah.
That's exactly the right note to strike when you watch that, because he's not this great talented stand-up. He is he's
not Robin Williams.
Exactly. Yeah. He's got the understanding for it, but he doesn't have the right drive and the right focus to get to that stage naturally, which is why he has to do all the stuff he does. So it's a blend of like ambition, delusion, but there's a vulnerability. He's obsessive, and his drive to achieve fame has like a sort of awkward charm that always teeters between endearing and unnerving. You never quite know which side of the fence he's going to come down on. There's a nervous energy that goes on, and the subtle performance choices, so awkward pauses, forced laughs, and moments of quiet desperation, they make him a bit scary, but they also make him feel kind of relatable in a sense.
Yeah.
Everyone's tried to be funny at some stage.
Yeah.
And the thing about Joker is you watch The King of Comedy and then you watch Joker and you go, yeah, that's kind of the same thing. Basically, I'm sorry if I'm about to shit on you, Ella, but like,
You are.
this ran so that Joker could desperately cling on to its tail.
And I've never seen it, so I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
I
but
think
that
you've
goes
got
in.
homework.
Listen, that goes into my 4th pick, which is it is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. But let me explain why. So I love really loser bottom of the barrel, like depressing stories. I also love Joker as a villain, as a concept, and I love Heath Ledger's Joker. I love that. I love that this modern. I feel like to me the modern, like the Robert Pattinson Batman and this Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's, are very nice in my head as pairings. Obviously they're not pairings, but this take on Joker I really love. It was dark what I wanted. It was what I want from a Joker. For me, my Joker is like that. And like there's obviously there is probably better interpretations of whatever, but like just Joaquin Phoenix's performance of it and how he looks in it and the way he moves in it, and like his just face and how haunting it is, and just like I think he is such a good Joker, and like he brings that to life and fills in all the things, and he's just such a loser in it, and it's just such a like depressing, and like it's so visceral. Like I just remember when he got beat up in that like beginning, it was just so, I had a visceral reaction to it. So this is as much of a personal, I'm not claiming it's the best whatever, but it's a personal, for me, this Joker like fit for what I would want from a Joker.
I guess my issue with the portrayal is that is just not what I come into a Joker story wanting from him. I want Joker.
We just want different things then.
Yeah.
Like The Dark Knight and it's Batman and Joker, they play off each other. This is a Joker single one, and like I said, I just think it's a dark and modern, and it is just hits the boxes, and that's why Joker 2 was sucked in just every aspect, because that just was shit. But
because I like what you're saying about the portrayal, because when I walked out of the Joker 2016, not 2019, I said to whoever I was watching it with that I think that was probably the best performance I'd seen that decade. Yeah, because I even though I don't love the script, the direction, the cinematography, the music, and the acting, wow. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. But when you say that's what you want from Joker as a character, and you say you love a loser story, the Joker is not a loser to me. He is kind of a force of nature. Yeah. He's this indomitable force that cannot be stopped because he is an ideology. And I didn't think that kind of Joaquin Phoenix was an ideology. I thought he was a guy who got bullied into being the Joker. I see what you mean. And that was the bit that
there was an element of the checklist about it, which is like his mum is, doesn't really love him.
Yeah.
He makes scenarios up in his head. He's got a medical condition. His mental health services have abandoned him.
He's a bit skinny.
A bit skinny, yeah. I think the difference here is that Joker always likes to tell conflicting backstories about himself, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I've got a past, if I'm going to have a past, I want it to be multiple choice, is what he says in Killing Joke.
Yeah.
And in this, one of the stories is he fell into a vat of acid, right? That's how he became crazy. And that vat is just Gotham. Yeah. That's what he falls into, and that changes him into who he is.
That's a clever.
And I like that.
I like that. That is very clever.
I think my problems with the film were never to do with Joaquin Phoenix. I always thought he was amazing, and his portrayal's great, and his characterization's fabulous.
No, that's what there's problems for sure.
But what I liked about the way the character was written actually is I think it lends itself into something really interesting, which I think that version of Joker might be a paedophile. There's constant imagery of him with kids and being childlike. I'm thinking particularly, you've got the kid on the bus, then you've got when he meets young Bruce Wayne and he's playing with a wand.
Oh, the young Bruce Wayne.
And then there's the bit in the hospital where he drops the gun.
Exactly.
But that was his job.
Of course. But the clincher is then when he gets to the stairs and Gary Glitter starts playing. And that's when the film starts going. The film starts going bad guy.
Damn. Yeah.
So
I don't know if we could equate those.
But that's the thing is that everyone was worried like, is he going to get royalties from this? Because I don't think anyone ever worked it out whether he did or wouldn't get royalties.
That's
from
so interesting. I also think you might disagree, but I think when you're talking about also Batman as in like what you want, what Pattinson gave it versus like when you were younger from Batman. To me, Joker is the same of like the Joker you were talking about of like he's a force and all of that. That's a very fun Joker, almost for me, that's like the fun Joker, and then this is like the grounded, like if you were looking for like the like grittiness, I don't know if that's the right word, but like real, that is the Joaquin Phoenix one. And Joaquin Phoenix, I just think he played it so brilliantly. I just think it was a brilliant performance by him.
He did.
So.
Agreed.
And one of the great things about comic books and comic movies is
There's
you can
so
have
many
these
versions.
Yeah, you can have
like,
and so I think it maybe, but it's a good interpretation for me.
It's like Hamlet. You can
Yeah.
take it on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Damn.
I prefer him, and you were never really here, but that's
Yeah.
just
But
me.
yeah.
Also, is that Lynn Ramsey?
It is, yeah, that's a
fantastic.
banger of a film. Go on then, Zach, number 4.
Right, my number thought because you did a voice.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a voice.
Oh.
It's not
Because
gonna
you
be-
tried too
your
hard.
voice.
It's not.
Because you
gonna-
attempted.
Sorry, I'm going to attempt it because I cannot do anything near what this man is capable of. You have controlled your fear. Now release your anger. Only hatred can destroy me.
yeah, we're gonna have to hold that one until
Okay,
Oh.
talk about it
You're
here.
gonna have to hold that one.
Oh.
I believe.
Yes.
Unless I'm guessing.
Well, have your guesses.
I have I'm terrible at this game.
Don't know.
Is that a Vader quote?
That is a Vader quote.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a
Oh,
Vader
you're
quote.
so big.
So we're gonna have to hold that.
That is Darth Vader quote. So we can discuss Darth Vader later.
Later.
Sorry, that's of course it is. I feel like a total idiot
It's
now.
okay.
but-
I thought I did better than I expected.
No, it was good. It was
It
good.
was shit.
I just knew it because of the quote.
Yeah.
I was just missing the inhaler noise. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I was missing. That's
well, no, but
you
that
did
would have given
that.
it away.
Of
That would
I've
have given it away.
spent a bit part of my thing. We'll get to it. Is a long time thinking what quote to use.
Yeah, of
because
course. There's quite a lot. All right then, Namir, you're
You're
number
number
4.
4.
I'm gonna jar it. I'm gonna jar it.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Captain
Oh, I
Jack
almost
Sparrow.
put him as well. Yeah, that's real.
He's just so fun.
He is.
Yeah.
There's something about a
Fun
character who just does. He wants to do what he wants to do, no matter the detriment to anyone else, and just has fun with it.
Yeah.
You put him in whatever situation you want to put him in, he's gonna do.
Yeah.
He's gonna be Jack Sparrow, and I love
is.
that.
Yeah.
Even from his introduction, because his
Yeah.
Oh, that
Well,
opening
that's the
scene.
introduction.
I was
got-
shown
you've
that in
got
all
the-
my film classes. It was
Yeah.
like, here's how to introduce a character.
You've got the movie
Yes.
score, which is blaring, but I'm gonna completely mispronounce it. I think it's Claus Bedelt.
That'll do.
It'll do. But you've got his score kind of what's the word? Swelling.
Yes,
swelling.
there you go.
And it's very heroic, and then it's a very heroic shot of him with the sun kind of rays and the flares on the lens, and then he's on a little dinghy, and it's sinking.
Great.
Yeah.
Good
His
choice.
only issue is that they start using him too much.
I was gonna say that while saying this, I do still understand how once you get to the 4th,
Yeah.
5th, film.
Yeah.
Well, because what I didn't like about it is because they started making him kind of incompetent. He was a walking Rube Goldberg machine.
Right.
Whereas in the first one, he's wacky and he's silly, but he's kind of like he's sick.
He knows
He's good at what he does.
The Pirates of Rock Stars thing is the one in the first film, but then the films, you're right, the films start to
Keith
betray
David
him by the end.
Well, I feel like films that end up like sequels and the thirds and the fourths and the fifths. When you have something that's so fun and like a groundbreaking character or whatever, and then you add on the films, then you just take away that like excitement or you go too far or whatever, and you kind of butcher the character. There's something nice about having a one film. People are too eager to make second films and third films when.
But I disagree when it comes to Jack Sparrow because the second film is arguably better than the first, and then
not Keith David.
That was a big
partially for the introduction of Davy Jones and the expansion of the lore and everything.
Yeah.
I think as a standalone film, the first one's amazing.
Yeah, the first film.
First one, incredible, amazing. When you look at it as like I look at it as a trilogy. I don't really like to get.
Yeah, of course.
No, that's real.
The second one's the one that I look to with like excitement that I'm gonna get there, and then the third one, I still really like it, really love, but it's the worst for me.
Yeah.
Just on the topic of Pirates of the Caribbean, Bill Nighy being amazing will come back later on in this conversation. But Bill Nighy.
Is it? No, I won't guess. But if it's Love
Don't
Actually,
guess.
then I'm gonna hit someone, and there'll be a surprise as to who in the room it is.
Oh.
We're just gonna get this beer can in the face.
Dumb.
As David Jones.
Yeah.
For the time, the CGI, the mocap.
Ridiculous.
Oh
Ridiculous.
my god.
Back in the day when Disney were capable of just focusing on one.
But not only that, you can see the emotion on his face in the thing, the one scene where you get to see him just back to human in the jail cell with Calypso, and just he's a sympathetic but wrong villain, and I love a sympathetic but wrong villain.
No,
It's
but I spent
incredible.
ages of my life not knowing that was Bill Nighy. It was only like
Neither,
5 years
neither,
ago.
Dom.
Okay,
Dumb.
my number 4 is.
Number
I mean, you're
4.
not going to get it unless you've seen the film because it doesn't. I don't think it exists sort of culturally much outside of it.
Okay.
Is this podcast about you showing your friends how many films you've seen that they haven't?
Yeah, it's actually scary,
It's not about
Dom.
showing
It's
my
scary.
friends.
It's showing
Showing
everyone.
the world.
Showing everyone.
No, okay, but no, this was a big film. We're Americans. That's the quote.
Ella, you want to take this?
No thanks, guys.
Resident Yankee.
Yeah.
Gangs New York.
No, miles off.
Miles off.
Godfather.
Even further, arguably.
What's the Abraham Lincoln documentary called?
Documentary biopic.
Documentary.
It's called Lincoln, as it turns out.
What's that film about the Titanic? Lupita Nyong'o as Adelaide Wilson from Us.
Oh!
Fantastic. I have seen
Really? Yeah.
I have not
Wow.
seen Us, and I really want to.
Interesting that she'd be in your top 5 characters of all time.
It's
though.
because it's 2 parts. They have to be the same.
Are we going to do a small
part.
spoiler, no spoiler one?
Well, I'm going to try
It's a
and do.
podcast.
Because I've never seen it, but it's okay.
Yeah, okay. I'll
Spoiler.
try and do this, but the plot of Us is that everyone has a doppelganger that comes to the surface and starts attacking the real world versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So, but obviously they get the same actors to play the different versions,
Yeah.
and the clones are creeps. But what's interesting about her part specifically is that they have to be distinct and then linked at the same time because she's the focal part of the film. She gets the most work to do.
Yeah.
But physicality is what separates the two of them quite often. When she's Adelaide, she's sort of the warm, protective but slightly sort of fearful demeanour, and then that contrasts really nicely with Red's sort of like upright, sharp movements. And then the
Ballet
raspy
dancing
voice and the ballet
movements,
dancing.
And then at the end of the film, you kind of realise why that is such an interesting
thing. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So
I need to watch it.
You do need to.
I
watch
get it.
that character embodies the film's theme of identity and privilege and the blurred lines between what people see as themselves and what they see as others.
Yeah.
I think, in my view, the film is about the failure of the American dream. I think it's us as in US. That's the way I read it anyway.
Ooh,
and
you're smart.
cheers, guys. So why'd you do the podcast? Just to brag. But yeah, I think it was one of those performances that I thought about it after the film had stopped, and I still kept going like ugh, and like shuddering and thinking about all the stuff.
I only watched it recently, so this is something fresh.
Yeah, you did. I need to watch it like now.
I remember
You'd love it, Ella. You'd really love it.
Yeah, no, I
saw
really want to see
you
it.
like the day after I watched it.
Yeah, I remember because I remember us talking
raving
about
about it.
So you've seen Get Out
Yes.
because we've spoken about it. Have you seen Nope?
Yeah.
I've not seen Nope.
Nope is my favourite of his films.
See, that's what's crazy
It's
because
up there. It's really up there. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right, okay.
I don't think it was my
Get Out.
favorites.
I love Get Out.
I love Get Out. I don't
my
think Nope
ranking
was
is-
up there for me.
My ranking is Nope, Get Out, Us.
Interesting.
But they're
you
all-
really
they're
liked
all-
Nope.
I really like Nope.
I loved Nope. I thought it was one of the films of the year.
The only thing there is that I think her performance is more important than her character. If you
Okay.
and
I see what you mean.
do you see what I mean?
Mhm.
Where like it's you go away talking about wow Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
You don't leave talking about wow Adelaide.
I suppose. I know what you mean. I do know what you mean, but I think also the character is written in a way that both parts can mirror the exact same stuff. And obviously her performance massively feeds into it, and that's part of what makes all of the ones that I've listed good characters, is that the people that did them to the full.
Yeah.
But I think that just because Jordan Peele's a genius, I kind of feel like he writes both sides of it
Absolutely.
equally
well.
So yeah,
Fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
there for
brilliant.
me.
Yeah.
Right, Ella Novie.
Okay, this is my third. I don't know. Okay. All I do is worry and slave and defend you, and all I get back is that fucking face on your face. So full of disdain and resentment and always so annoyed.
It's Ladybird?
No, she said she wanted to put Lady
Oh,
Bird.
yeah.
She didn't actually.
It's not Marriage Story, is it? Right.
It's clearly an unhealthy relationship.
Oh God, I don't know. Tell us.
Annie, the mother from Hereditary.
Oh!
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
I think Hereditary is an insane movie, but I think the mother, there's so much about mothers, and the mother in this film, and that speech that she does with the child too, it simultaneously, she's obviously has her own issues, and there's so much generational trauma from her mother, and she's not really breaking that, but it's also that pain of motherhood, and that speech that made me feel kind of bad for my mom, but also she's is hurtful to her kids. It's just that it's such a painful character because it's not she's right or wrong necessarily. It just is that pain of motherhood, and she's not dealing with it right, but you can see that, and that's why it's a sympathetic. It's
a lot
sympathetic.
of the issues with your child are because of you, but at the same time,
there's
that's
the
not
issues
your
of
fault,
exactly,
and
and it is that motherness of just I don't know, your children being bitches to you when they're growing up, but then it's also you said she raised them, but it's just
if I could say one word, mother.
but it's also that's such a terrifying movie, and her performance as well in that is so again just raw. I love a visceral thing, and I totally forgot I was talking with my brother about it, and he was like, oh my god, and I was like, that's such a good shout.
Knows how to write a woman with trauma.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
But I just think it's such a good horror film, because also horror films, I don't know, it's just such a deep character in a horror, such a
When I think of Hereditary, it's weird that Toni Collette is the first thing I think of. I think of the scene of her at the dinner table.
that dinner table scene. That's what
screaming, and I don't,
because
which
it's so
not the horror in that film and the visual.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a horror movie, and then you have
but
her.
then just exactly her performance just goes above that for me, which is wild. But just how great the film is.
Fantastic.
I hate Hereditary.
That's crazy.
I love it for about 3/4 of it, and then it goes, it's going to be about the occult now, and it's no, I was loving this dysfunctional family dynamic, and
that's
then
fair.
I didn't want the ghost bit. But she's undeniably great in it. You can have both, of course, but I just didn't like how it was sort of cottoned on at the end. I preferred watching the rest of it play out as if it could have been, it couldn't have been, sort of stuff.
Interesting.
But yeah, no begrudging there. That's a good choice.
Guys.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Zach,
My number 3. It's called A Hard Stare. My aunt taught me to do them when people had forgotten their manners. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
My number 3 pick is Paddington Bear, played so charmingly by Ben Whishaw in the recent
Paddington.
films. Yes, Paddington.
I'm gonna disappoint everyone here. Although I was born there, I've never seen Paddington.
You've never seen Paddington.
Born next to the statue. Never seen
Seriously.
it. I'm dead serious.
I'll quote Pedro Pascal in that film about Nick Cage.
Yeah,
It makes you want to be a better man. But yes, he's fantastic. So these films make me feel warm in a way that only someone with a quaint British accent and a fuzzy face can. And
Zach, I'm right here.
You better stay right here. Sorry, Ella. But Paddington, he just has this manner, he has these mannerisms about him that only I think Ben Whishaw and the fantastic team of animators could have kind of brought about. I think this film in the hands of anyone else but Paul King or Wes Anderson, who clearly inspires him quite significantly, it wouldn't have worked. But because it's just got that charm to it, and it's just got that, oh yeah, being British is okay sometimes actually. It's because, this is a tough country to be proud of. But, it took a Peruvian to show us what being British is all about. And that's who Paddington is. It just makes you feel good. And he's so funny. That's kind of not an overlooked, but kind of everyone talks about how happy those films are and how warm they are. They are hilarious.
Really funny, yeah.
You've got Hugh Bonneville's character dressing up as various women, and kind of the guy from Horrible Histories being wildly attracted to him. You've got are you using those ear brushes for your mouth? It's just a fantastic film, and it wouldn't work without that character.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, I think that's going to be top of my watch list now.
Yes,
It's got to be Paddington.
Yes, it's got to be Paddington.
I think the thing that Paddington 3 was lacking was
Paddington in Peru. There is going to be a Paddington 3 directed by Paul King.
Oh, is there?
I think so.
Oh, right.
So.
Well, the thing that Paddington in Peru was missing was... No, it's fine. Gatekeeping Paddington over there.
Yes, listen, he's my number 3 pick.
Yeah. It missed out on that evocation of the ideal London, which the first two do so well. Like the first two make you look at London and go, God, this place is great.
Yeah.
And then
Because got people bullying bloody what's his name, Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not being nice enough to the bear.
Exactly. And it makes him stand out when you've got a street full of Sanjeev Bhaskar and you've got a street full of Jessica Hines and stuff, and you go, oh, this place is wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you get the one character, the anti-immigration officer that is Peter Capaldi, and you go, right. The third one missed the third film in the lineage. It missed out that idea of London again, and so it was weaker. But here's an interesting. I'm presuming you know this, but Colin Firth was originally down to do the voice for Paddington, and then started doing it and was just kind of like, this is wrong.
He's too old and he sounds too old.
Yeah, he does.
You need Ben Whishaw because he could be anything between a 40-year-old kind of lovely man as he is
12
and 12.
Yes. I very much considered putting Paddington in the list.
The bear.
But no, that's the show about cooking. So I am always available for this podcast for a reason. I haven't been invited on any others.
I mentioned in the intro for this that I recorded before. Like, we have tried to do this 10
we have.
times.
It's been a long time coming. The fact that we didn't even have a group chat until recently.
I think March was when we first discussed this.
Ella texted me and was like, should I just make a group chat? And I was
because
like,
we were shooting Maelstrom together, which for the audience who may not know is a film directed by the two of the 3 guests.
Oh my god!
Starring 2 of the other people.
2 of the other.
Oh wait, we have a little
shameless plug.
Okay, I want to hear yours first.
Yes.
Well, the quote is, "What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?"
Tai Long, big
shout,
huge.
So
we've got another DreamWorks character with us tonight.
Some of the things 3 points that we've brought up today of why we love some of the characters that we've loved is incredible animation, a sympathetic yet wrong villain. And an unbelievable voice actor who just brings a level of sympathy to it that very few can.
And rage.
And rage. And Tai Lung does all 3 of those.
Yeah.
And really, you cannot fault the Kung Fu Panda films with their villains in any way, shape, or form.
Gary Oldman in the second one.
Exactly.
Just incredible.
And J.K. Simmons to sing his praises again. Just great as Kai. But Tai Lung, for me, is the best, and really the scene that solidifies that is when he confronts Shifu in the Jade
Absolutely,
Palace.
yeah. I have a playlist on my YouTube that's private because, I'm not an idiot. Of acting scenes that I love watching over and over again, and that's in it.
Ian McShane.
It's so good.
Ian McShane.
Tell me how proud you are.
That line breaks me every time.
So cold.
And what even more, and this just testament to the writing, is Shifu apologizes to him, and a testament to the animation.
Yeah.
For a second, you get a bit of regret, and you see that little boy, the way Shifu sees them.
Ian McShane is one of those character actors that every time you see him in something, you're excited.
But I think even in like the action scenes, I don't know how hard it is to record action fight noises for a but Ian McShane.
We're clearly very different. I think there's a professional here.
he pulls up everything.
He nails it. That's it. Yeah, that's like voice acting to aspire to. I feel like
that's he could be on this list just from that alone, not to mention the character and everything he's done.
Absolutely.
They created Chogon Prison for him, and he still breaks out. It's one of the coolest sequences of any animated film.
I feel like we could do an hour on
I
can sense that. That's the vibes of it.
That's the next episode.
Your third point.
Okay.
Let's have your number 3, sir.
Panda. He's a panda. Right. Okay. I'm sorry to do this again, but my number 3 is. You complete me.
Heath Ledger's joke.
It is Heath Ledger's joke.
And we would never say that he's the superior portrayal, but
he's a superior portrayal.
Yes, there we go. We did say
the
it.
imagery, the iconography, the legend.
We let him be.
Yeah.
All of those things specifically about this version of the character have burned their way into cinema history. It's a character that is the embodiment of a study of chaos, unpredictability, it's sort of intelligence, he's got dark humour, he's unhinged, but he's very much a capturing of the Joker's anarchic philosophy. It's nuanced in really strange ways, stuff like just making the makeup a little bit itchy for him, which is why he kept licking his mouth and all this sort of stuff.
Well, do you think...
It's great, isn't it?
I love the little fun facts. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so smart, because that's such a freaky little aspect of it. Oh, yeah.
There's that theory about when he's talking about a soldier could die, 13 soldiers could die in an explosion. And do you think that is his history?
No,
because that's what you done.
No.
I don't think the Joker would have been stupid enough to tell us his real past yet. I feel like he'd just he'd just enjoy the thrill of making it up every single time.
Yeah.
And this, to me, again, he does it in this film. He's like, do you want to know how I got these scars? And then tells you three different ways.
My favourite kind of idea of the Joker is that he was just born like that. Like, there is no origin. Just a force of nature.
Yeah. But like you were saying that you had like the expectations you have of the Joker of being this kind of wild, fun, anarchic character. The reason he is so iconic is because he took that character who was an extremely fun villain, like all the Jack Nicholson stuff we'd seen, this kind of really kind of
like the campy
gag stuff,
Like,
but then he turned it into like
that's what he is.
he turned that into the physical embodiment of a concept.
Yeah.
No, I love Heath Ledger.
They managed to make it fit into the Nolan universe. With, like,
perfectly.
Absolutely perfectly, and still cement itself in history.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of the Joker is maybe one of the, if you're just purely on iconic status, maybe one of the top 3 characters ever made.
Yeah,
I love the Joker.
Just because there's so much about him, and you know he constantly tries to do this. You're the same. You complete me, Batman. We are the same, and you think you're trying to be like one of those guys, but you're not one of those guys.
Yeah.
Don't pretend like you are.
Yeah.
That interrogation scene where Gordon leaves Joker in the room and then Batman appears behind him and smacks his head into the desk. That tells you so much about it.
The victim gets all fuzzy.
Yeah. That's in that scene. A detail I love about it, and it's completely intentional, is that the camera's constantly flicking between Joker and the Batman, and then it starts off doing just a normal 180-degree rule, and then it breaks that halfway through the scene where he says that you're a freak like me, and then the camera cuts and they're on the same side of the screen. And it's totally like intentional, and it just like it's an idea that he's trying to make them the same person, and they're not. And he just keeps yammering on. That's what I love about Heath Ledger, is he just keeps talking. Like even at the end when he's hanging up there, and Batman's finally, put
Yeah.
to bed all his plans and stuff, and he's like, yeah, you're going to beat rotting in a padded cell for the rest of your life, and he goes, until this thing, I've got another thing, and Batman literally just goes, oh,
Yeah.
you've
I
always
love
got
it. He's
something
a
else.
yapper.
But that's the thing, taking Heath Ledger to do that was a really interesting. And
you
then
go
once-
from cowboy sex to...
Well, exactly. But I mean, so at the time when they were casting it, Nolan was doing Insomnia.
I love that.
Which is a great film, and he was really
Another fantastic Robin Williams.
That's what I was going to say.
DVD, but I've
Both
never seen
Robin
it.
Williams and Al Pacino, I think, are great.
Yeah.
I think that's my favourite Al Pacino performances in that. But like, he was considering Robin Williams for the Joker at the time when he was doing it, because he was
So
this very
interesting.
creepy kind of, slightly flat-faced, but sort of toying with his counterpart kind of deal. And then they went with what was actually a really left field choice, and then that happened. And it was like, how the hell did you
One
get
of the
that?
biggest surprise in cinema history.
without a
Because
doubt.
It's just brilliant, and it's kind of credit to the casters. I'm the casting director. I don't necessarily know who they are, but
I think it's John Papsadero. He does most of the Nolan films.
Yeah.
Sorry, nerd knowledge.
No, I love
but,
it. I'm using it.
the last thing I'm going to say about it is I think one of the things that goes underrated about his version of the Joker, and it's why this character is really good, is I think this character is really annoyed when people don't actually take him seriously.
yeah.
There's a moment when he
Yeah.
walks into the meeting with the guy in Hong Kong on the TV, and if someone goes like, "You're insane," he goes, "No, I'm not." He's got the guy tied up and gagged in the chair, and he's saying, "Look at me," and he doesn't, and then he goes, "Look at me," and it's like he wants people to respect him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, like he wants people to fear him.
But
and
I don't
respect
think
him.
I don't think he knows why.
Yeah.
He's got this ideology that it kind of makes so much sense to him, and he's living it, and that's how the world looks to him. And then from every other character's perspective, he is this insane guy.
I think you know what? I think he knows why he wants respect from people. Well, if you're saying in his he has his worldview, and I think he believes in the sense he's clever. He sees what other people doesn't see. He's cleverer. You know, when you have those genius freaks, and I don't think he thinks he's necessarily a genius, but I think he thinks he sees it right, and so he deserves respect because he sees it right, and he's more clever than
This is what he says about him and the Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If I could,
people giving the Batman that level of.
If I could counter that, but if he sees himself as so clever and all these little people as toys that don't really matter, then why does the fact that they see him as smarter than them matter to him?
I think it is. I think it's just I don't know. I just think there's validation.
It's not okay. So here's the thing. I think you're right, but I don't think it's necessarily to do purely with being smarter than other people.
Yeah.
I think what he's so motivated by is setting the standard.
Yeah.
So when he says Gotham deserves a better class of criminal, and I'm going to give it to them, I think he's destined to be that.
I
agent
love
of chaos.
that as because he's just
That's
so
perfect.
tired.
Yeah, because that's why he deserves respect.
He's so tired of all the mobsters and all that sort of thing. He's just like, you're all just sleazebags.
Yeah. Just one more, but my thing that I also I love Harley Quinn. I love the Joker and Harley Quinn, which is why the second Joker annoyed me because I was really excited. But I really want a proper jokey. A proper jokey.
I love jokey.
Jokey, I love you, jokey. Because I think Harley Quinn brings out I love when you bring love into that. If you add in whatever their version of love is, I think that's so fucked, and I think that's such an interesting, and it's not been done right because I love Harley Quinn.
This is the point that I wanted to make with Heath Ledger's Joker is, do you know how good of a performance you have to do for me to say I want to see classic Batman stories with you. I want to see you torture Jason. I want to see you turn Tim into JJ. And those kind and part of it because I want to see the Bat family be portrayed properly. But so if I could get a Bat family, death in the family, death of the family type thing with Heath Ledger's Joker. Or
you'd be a happy bunny.
I'd be so happy. I mean, just the idea of JJ from Batman Beyond with Heath Ledger Joker was just terrifying.
Well, Ellie,
fantastic. We've
that's enough
milked
jokes.
Joker dry.
Okay.
Well, at least Joker hasn't been talked about very much.
You're wrong about the second one, by the way. But anyway, no. So tell us.
Wait.
Oh,
no.
It's fine because the episode that came out today, I review it. So
Okay.
I've said all I need to.
Okay,
So it's
perfect.
Fine. So tell us about your number 2 then.
Okay. I give you lots of kisses. I give you lots of hugs, but I never give you sandwiches with grease and worms and mung beans. Guys, it's a rogue quote, to be honest.
Alice in Wonderland.
No, but that's. Oh my God, Allison! Guys, can I like change?
Can we make it top
Can we
six?
make it? Yeah, I need to add one. Can we just honorable mention Alice in Wonderland, childhood,
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
I've ever
yeah.
loved? Okay, great.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But like I said, we've got all the film to discover. So
Yeah, true.
It's going to be missed out some.
True.
So is it an animated film?
Yeah.
Right, because it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Is it something from the jungle?
Mm-mm.
Is it Coraline? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Coraline.
yeah. It's
Coraline.
Coraline. So that's when you mentioned the.
Also
the
makes sense with you.
But I just think Coraline, the animation, also when I was young and it was like terrifying, but I also think it's such a like childhood, it's the curiosity and it's like that, it's just a little kid like fear of like, oh, well my parents are being mean and like all this stuff, and it's just like, it explores that so amazingly, and like the curiosity and then the like reality of it and the imagination and just like all of the fun turned to horror, and you just like as a kid, and it just relates to anyone with a childhood like that.
It's a universal experience to
Exactly.
want something and then realise it's shite.
And I just think she's a fun character, like she's a fun character and a portrayal. She's blue haired, but yeah, I just think it's such a lovely. Oh, and the animation is so special and like puppety and like the
Who's the
music
director
and
again?
the,
Harry?
gorgeous.
No,
Just Harry.
fact
No,
check.
just Harry. I've got no idea.
It's like Harry S. something, I think.
Yeah.
Harry S. Truman.
Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, that one. That one.
Okay.
Coraline.
Henry
I love
Selick,
a,
Henry Selick. There we go.
Yeah, I love a girl protagonist like that. That's such a like childhood kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, great.
Fantastic
Great.
choice.
Well,
There's
we all love Coraline.
Yeah, there's no.
I
yeah,
actually-
no concern.
I hated it for years.
Well, because it scared you, but like.
no, but doesn't just scare me. My sister sat me down in front of the
It's, like,
TV,
trauma
repeating like. She was like, well, we've come to the cinema, you're going to finish watching it. And I cried.
Bloody hell.
And then she made me watch it again.
That was a formative
No,
experience.
I back. Yeah,
My-
right. I
my-
back your sister.
The joke is later on when for my number one I pick the cat. I just love it. I just
Crazy.
like how creepy
The
it
character
is.
specifically.
Yeah, the character specifically is kind of like, because you see
Character show.
what I've always enjoyed about Coraline is the fact that like it's a little bit of an obvious metaphor, but once she goes into the other world, the only eyes you see are hers.
Yeah.
So they're the only eyes you're seeing the events of the film through,
Yeah.
because
That's
all
a
the rest of them are
child's
taken
eyes.
away,
Yeah.
and it's a kid's eye.
And I think
all
just a
this sort of
child's
stuff.
view of the world is so special. It's so special and so unique, and it has that imagination.
That's
and
what
it
the
works
other mother wants
perfectly.
So, my number 2 pick.
Go on.
So this is going to be really hard for you guys to get, but I think I'm going to have to do a voice for it. What's potatoes, precious?
Oh, you
So-
did not do Gollum.
My number 2 pick
He did
is
just to do the
Gollum slash
impression.
Yeah, it was
Smeagol.
just for the
No, I
voice.
did not, because I have a lot to say about this. So first off, if you had told me that a film would come out in 2002, because we're not going to talk about it's a different character model in the first one. It probably comes out in Two Towers. And if you're going to tell me that there was a fully CGI character done with mocapping and keyframe animation, and also because you didn't have like motion capture in the way that you do now, where you can put dots in the face and it's fairly well read. He still had dots in his face, don't get me wrong. I've looked at behind the scenes footage for kind of yonks. But they had to keyframe animate a lot of his facial movements next to videos of Andy Serkis, which is incredible. They also just had this guy in a grey onesie on set with all these thousands of intricate costumes, and at the time no one had ever really done this before, so all the other actors were kind of looking at him in this grey onesie being like, how's this gonna go? So the animation studio or kind of CGI studio that they brought on to work with is called Weta. And it is now one of the most successful CGI studios in the world. Yes.
Well, I want to hear why the character.
This is all kind of leading up to it.
Not to. This is.
I want everyone at home to know that Ella was very politely putting up.
I was. I just.
Wait, the rest of us
I just
shouting
wanted
over
to
you.
check. Yeah. I was being very patient. Yeah. Thanks for calling on me.
No, of course, anytime, Dan. If a single character can denote the reason for your animation studio to become one of the best and biggest and most sought after in the world, then that's an achievement. But okay, moving on to why I love him/them as a character. The way that the animation ties into it is that you feel so bad. You feel so bad for this little creature that's just been corrupted. It is one of the most kind of visceral portrayals of corruption, of kind of greed or anything that has ever been put to film. And you watch him and you're like, that is what wanting something that is bad for you so badly that it destroys you can do to a person. And I honestly it's not necessarily to know that I keep using that word and I don't know if I'm using it right, but I'm going to continue.
It sounds right to me.
I'm going to continue. It's not necessarily stated that kind of in the films the magic. It is stated that the magic corrupts him, but that's not necessarily why he looks like that.
Yeah.
He's just been kept alive so long, and his greed has just become. And now we talk about kind of the dichotomy. So he is just two people, and it is just so fantastically filmed. You have that bit at the end of Two Towers where he's in kind of the ruins and he's looking from one side. So, no, there are friends who loves him. No, there's not. There's the shots from kind of either side of him. It's I think it's breaking the 180 rule because it makes you feel weird about kind of the cuts, and he's just looking from side to side. And just the two voices and the two ways he holds himself and the two ways of breathing. So you notice this, right? That when he's one character, he breathes a different way. So when he's like Gollum, it's just fairly... And when he's Smeagol, it's just like fairly normal. It's just like, and it's like very exciting. I don't know why I would have said that.
I wish everyone could see what's going on.
But when he's Gollum, it's like it's slower and it's more it's intimidating kind of. And how do you make a little 5-foot guy that could not fuck me up? I swear to God, I could beat Gollum up. I'm just saying this. If it was me in Mount Doom, that guy would not be taking my finger. How do you make that so intimidating? And he just makes it unearthly. He has this kind of weightlessness to him that makes you think like this was never a person. But then he gets hit and he whimpers, he yelps, and you're like, oh my God, poor creature. And he's just this slimy little creature, and I love him.
Well, it's so interesting. You 3 of your characters are like animated or like.
Yeah, well, it's
so funny.
I think characters design is one of the most important things. And like I obviously most of the characters I watch are live action, so there is limited character design you can do.
That's why it stands out, I guess. Is why it comes out.
It's all about the character design themselves.
So then it's
like
about
goes down to the cat in Kiki's delivery service. Like that's the perfect character design.
And that last thing you said there about him being this slimy little creature is one of the things I really, really love about Gollum is that like he at the start off you feel like if you've not got any prior knowledge or whatever, you're just watching the film and you go right, here's the kind of thing that they would find up this deranged man. You know what I mean? Like here's just one of the slimy little things it would be about. And then he becomes this full on meaningful
one of the most important characters in Lord of the Rings.
It's
he as you say developed. Because not only does he have one personality developed, he has 2.
Yeah.
These 2 people, and they're both developed characters, and you understand why.
Also set Andy Serkis up for life as the motion.
Well, and deservedly so.
Yeah, talking to my friends about like if they made a Green Lantern movie, who would play Laughley's, and just everyone was like Andy Serkis. Just because it was a mocap like style.
And then you get to the Batman, and suddenly it's like, and he's Alfred. I can do that as well.
But he's just brilliant, and I will hear no complaints.
No, that was well.
All my homies love Gollum.
I love Gollum. In the little Lord of the Rings Lego video game, he's great. He's great.
He is great.
Love him. That's how I know a lot of movies.
Weapons grade inside there.
Yeah, the Lego video game version of that, like Pirates of the Caribbean. Love the Lego video game.
That's what got me into Star Wars.
Go on then, number 2.
Number 2.
Is it?
The only people who give up work at 50 are the time travelers with cancer who want to play more table.
About time! Bill Nye, about time! Brilliant.
About Time is a film I didn't find too long ago that instantly shot up to one of my favorite
Yeah.
Such a
films
sweet-
of all time.
Oh.
Someone once described like films that are warm hugs,
Yeah.
and I feel
That's
like
a warm hug that's also
It's a-
stabbed.
I was about to say that, like, you're just sobbing.
Yeah.
it's like it's a warm hug of someone who just disappears and you're left there on your own crying.
Yeah.
He's just such a good character.
Great character.
He's such a good dad.
And now I don't have to hit anyone because it wasn't him in it.
But I was like, oh fuck, he knows. No, when,
Yeah.
like you start off the story and you've got Tim being a creep. Then, like from the very get go, you've got the dad being supportive and nice, and I think it's sort of like a film within a film. I would say it's
Yeah.
two. I feel like it starts off about like him. You get the taste of him being creepy and trying to win over Margot Robbie and all that stuff. But it like power comes from his dad.
Yeah.
He has the conversation with his dad, and it really sets off from the beginning. There's a bond there, and that's just strengthened by now this thing that only they have. But it's not like what defines their relationship. They are an amazing father and son, that duo. And he's just so chill and laid back and relaxed, but he also knows when to. It's the same thing with Sean. From Good Will Hunting.
I could say it reminds me of like an emotional version of Stanley Tucci from Easy A.
Yeah, well,
That was-
Ellen Novie's father has been compared to that man.
Really?
Yeah,
He
like-
does look.
Sounds wicked.
Stanley Tucci was originally going to be in my top
Oh my god,
five.
yeah,
It
my
was gonna
every
be-
Stanley
Stop.
Tucci was originally going to be her dad.
That's so
It was
dumb.
gonna be-
Every
they could've-
person that
they
watches
could've
Easy A
voted.
goes, Ella, this is your dad.
Really?
I was like, yeah, no,
Well, Stanley
it is.
Tucci's character in Devil Wears Prada was
You were
originally
gonna
going to be in my
be
top
on- yeah.
five.
Oh, really?
Wow,
Yeah.
We love
that's good.
Tucci.
I love
We love the
Tucci.
Tooch.
We love the Tooch.
Anyone seen Conclave?
No, not
yet.
yet, but I really
Very
want to see
excited.
it.
Unbelievable.
Very excited.
And he's
Very
great.
My aunt and
excited.
uncle loved it.
Your,
Yeah.
your number two pick.
My
Yes.
number two is okay. I'm gonna move slightly further away from the mic just because this requires a little bit of shouting.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, if I have to ask again, I'm gonna have to write up the whole class. Take your seats.
Abigail.
Yes!
Very good.
I didn't
Very
think anyone
good.
would have. I didn't think
Very
you'd have known
nice.
it.
Not having Daly. Not having
Abigail.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
as Frank
Fantastic.
Abigail in Catch Me If You Can.
Great film.
God, I just loved how you slipped into that seamlessly and you only had to
Not an
record
ounce
that
of effort
once.
at all.
Wow, you're not letting you get away with shit.
Fine,
No,
yeah,
no.
alright, I had to re-record it because I fucked it up. He does every job on the planet in one film, and then
Better than
does it
anyone else who
fantastic.
does that
Exactly,
job.
exactly. I think it's definitely Leo's best performance
Oh,
because
really?
it's his best
Wow.
character that he's had
Yeah.
to work with. It's a masterclass
Whoa.
in charm and vulnerability. This young con artist is daring at the same time as being confident and also very much lost. He's got this sort of magnetic charisma that obviously
Yeah.
lets him get away with anything wherever he goes. What I love about the whole thing is it is absolutely an effort to make his dad proud of him in a
Yeah.
sense, just to get him back on side and win him over again. And you get Tom Hanks following him the whole way, getting confused, losing him every step, and
Yeah.
a very really bizarre scene.
I love
Yeah,
the scene of
father
them
to
meeting
the
where he's
Yeah.
just like FBI.
Exactly. And then he goes, see, you think you're the only one to investigate in this?
Yeah,
Idiot."
yeah, yeah.
And it just leaves. It's
It's
brilliant.
brilliant.
It's so good. But it's really nuanced as well. It's like
Very nuanced. Very nuanced.
our moments of vulnerability. The one that I think of the biggest is when he is watching the TV with Amy Adams and her family, and he suddenly has this moment where he's like, "I'm gonna have to break this girl's heart,
Yeah.
most likely," and he sort of sits there and contemplates for a second while they're sitting in front of the TV as some bizarre. Has anybody here seen Kathy?
Yeah.
And they're all loving life, clapping along, and he's just sat there like, "I'm gonna have to get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
But, it could have been so easily this one-dimensional trickster that's just like, "Oh, I'm a teacher now, and now I'm a policeman, and now I'm doing this, that, and the other," and he just isn't that. And it's like, so like every bit is a different bit. So, yeah.
For those who can't see, Emma's playing with a plant pot.
And it got confiscated from me.
It got taken away.
It got taken away.
We'll have planned playtime later.
Yes, come on now.
Okay.
Don't
okay.
mess with the little cactus. Elenovia, it's
Are we
time
up
for
to
your
number
number
one?
one.
Oh,
Drum roll.
Number
Should we
one.
drum roll?
Well, I have to do a quote, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
It's nice try, guys. Nice try.
Okay.
At least you'll never be a vegetable. Even artichokes have hearts.
Emily.
Ooh.
Yeah, but you just knew that because that's
That's
the
a
like
great line. Wait, I've
I-
never heard that
I
before.
knew it would
That's
be
a
Emily.
great line.
Yeah, but you just knew. So, okay. I think.
I cheated.
I think-
did
yeah, you
cheat.
did cheat.
I did cheat.
But I think
know it's your favorite.
as like when you're looking at film characters, right? Because obviously there's so many, but so many that were coming to my mind were male, and which is crazy because there are so many like strong female characters, but so many in like strong male leads. The female is like nothing. Like you mentioned Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but like her whole thing is she's an idea, and same with 500 Days of Summer, and same with all of, obviously those are just off the top of my head like the Manic Pixie Dream Girl-esque, but there's so many like that. But so for me, Amelie, because like she is girlhood in a way that when I'm like watching it, it's just such a playful way, and that's why I think also Coraline, them being my top two, is such like the two aspects for me of being a girl growing up, is like Amelie's just so fun. Like she's just having fun with her life. She is sweet. She's genuine. She's quirky. There's just like all of these things, and it's so positive and fun, and like the entire movie is fun. But I just remember watching it being like, I love this. Like a smile on my face. Like it's just, this is such a type of girlhood that's not always shown, like because you have like, you know, Kill Bill, but that's like that like badass heroine, like, and there's such archetypes of girls, and so like this is another kind of archetype, but it is a different one where it's not like sexualized like that, and it's just like such a sweet going through life, like just a girl who still has that like little childhood like spark, and is just so speaks to me the most of, for me, the most relatable for like myself. Like I'm not some like heroine like slashing bad people. I'm just like chilling, and like I love her. I love that film. I think she's great and weird in all the right ways, and I just think she's a great character. I also think I've like a lot about male gaze in film, and even with female heroines, I think Kill Bill is pretty male gazy to me in the sense of like she's about
Quentin Tarantino male gaze.
But like you have all of those, even occasionally, even if you try and do that like empowering feminine, it is inherent in the male gaze. And I think Amelie is just it's such a, to me it's so like, it's just pure, like it is just a pure thing, and like I don't think you can always escape, I don't think you can ever escape the male gaze in how we have society today, but that's like a completely separate thing in art. But I think that in Amelie it's pretty well done, and it doesn't feel too like, I don't know, whatever, cliche or like, I just think it spoke to me in a female lead in a way that like I don't know the last time a film I've really been like, she's me. So yeah, I love her. Top character.
Julianne Ducournau is
God.
Genius. She's amazing.
Yeah. See, I have no idea what this film is about.
Yeah.
That you just sold it to me.
You have to.
It's underneath Paddington on the list.
That quote was hard.
Yeah. Well, it was on my list for so long, and then I finally watched it. I was like, this is so.
I remember when you watched it and you came to me talking about like how much you loved it.
Well, I'd love to watch it again, so we can all have a little watch party in the flat.
So many movies. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I love Emily.
Good. It's another one of those charming films.
And the filmmaking is just so fun. Like it's just
gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, and it's quirky, and in its entirety.
Because you know what I was talking to you about when we watched Wicked, where it's just like you've got such colourful sets,
and
but
it's not colourful.
It's dead. Yeah. The film looks dead.
Yeah.
Which I think is someone I listen to quite regularly called Carsten Runquist said that he thinks that this is probably one of the most ugly eras of popular filmmaking of all time.
Ooh,
and
I think I agree.
I would tend to agree, where the camera quality is great, there's a lot of talented cinematographers out there, but for some reason the grading at the moment is just null.
I think a lot can be owed to some films being made in genre that are past their sell-by date, having the same palette over and over and over again. We're sort of used to stuff. But I think
because I would prefer that. I would prefer that kind of cyan orange to what we have now. Because but anyway, because Amelie is a film that uses colour beautifully, and it works for her character.
The reds and her red. Oh.
But that, like, so when you're like talking about like the female characters and stuff, like there are the main reason that I didn't have many more is that, like, I was just trying to keep for brevity. Like there's so many that I can like. And thinking about it now, you could go like Viola Davis in something like Fences or anything, or you could go for Meryl Streep in a million different things. Even like Emma Thompson and stuff like Remains of the Day or stuff. You know, there's loads of this.
Emma Thompson's character in Love Actually was
one of the most I've never seen anything more heartbreaking than that. Apparently they did that scene 4 times, and she did produce that every single time.
Jesus.
She's just incredible.
Emma Thompson is using. That's what people don't actually talk about. Love Actually in that scene is that she's using the present.
Oh yeah.
You hear the song.
And then that scene, when people think Love Actually, they think, oh, fun Christmas.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she
Go to America to
And
Shanghai.
he's got a big nose.
Every time.
No.
What's
It
his
gets
name again?
to that scene.
What's the...
Yeah.
But I think that's what with the talk about like strong female character. That's why I put Kat Stratford.
Yeah.
And she was so close to making it in my top 5. That's Sean for Good Will Hunting. Just had to.
Yeah.
But
Fair enough.
No fair.
Right.
Right then, Zach.
Yes.
Number 1.
My number 1
What's the
character.
quote?
Rudeness is merely an expression of fear. People fear they won't get what they want. The most dreadful and unattractive person only needs to be loved, and they will open up like a flower.
It's ringing a million bells, but
Wow.
it better not be the fucking Lorax or something.
It is not. It is not. The
Watch
right-
it's all in
No,
his
this
character.
is a very this is a very serious one for
Okay.
me.
I don't know. I like the quote, but
Is this a weird loophole of a Doctor Who movie?
No, this is not. This is not a
when
weird
you said
example.
one of my characters is a TV character, I went, he's want to talk about the Doctor.
Yeah.
No.
Because I was like, well, I want to talk about the Doctor.
Listen, Tom, we will talk about the Doctor
Yeah,
in
we
the future.
can.
It's
We'll
okay.
talk
Don't
about
worry.
it.
It's okay.
I don't know.
It's rudeness is merely an expression of
Say the
fear.
character.
Who's
Who is against rudeness?
Samwise Gamgee.
No.
Say it.
Say it.
Yes.
Right.
Cool.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Mr. Gustav from the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forgot you did that one. I didn't
Yes.
realize you said that.
He is probably my favourite film character of all time. And that might change kind of any given day. But
When you said Mr. Gustav, I thought of Gusto.
This is, in my opinion, Ralph Fiennes' finest performance. He just encapsulates... I don't know, I've now realised that just a lot of my characters are charming. They're just... They are polite, but he's got an edge to him, because this is someone who loves making other people happy so much that he kind of forgets about himself. And he also just thinks that he has the world worked out, but then when it turns against him, he has no idea what to do. But then he realises that it kind of still fits into this image that he has of the world, but it's just slightly different, and there are bad people and there are good people, but he is still allowed to be the person that he always was. There is one of the most famous lines is I sleep with all my friends. And there's one where he's speaking to a corpse. I don't know what moisturizer they've used on your corpse, darling, but I want some. It's
such a you character. It's such a you line.
fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And his relationship with Zero is heart-wrenching. It's hilarious. It is what life is all about. It is these two people just get each other, and you just watch them fall in love with each other in such a kind of a natural way. And that's the thing that with Wes Anderson films, I love them. I think he's a fantastic author and just a brilliant filmmaker, but he struggles to get me engaged with his characters quite a lot of the time, because they're just him. They're just snarky.
It's also it's all the pictures of it, picturesque.
Yeah.
It takes it away from
Whereas
the humanity of it.
This film combines this quirkiness with this heart, and this is one of the only Wes Anderson characters I've seen who has heart. You see how much he cares about his job, but as the film goes on, you realise that he cares that much about everything.
Yeah.
And that's why he's my favourite film character of all time.
God, you would have
Damn.
loved to stay there. Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
We
In
never
its heyday.
We never would have
In
got
its
you
heyday.
back.
In its heyday.
See, it's interesting. I think that point that Ella made, I think it is interesting that your favourite character came from a Wes Anderson film. Because for me, they're almost always not character-led. I mean, you can look at something like Fantastic Mr. Fox, yes. But that's why I always thought French Dispatch felt like a really fresh approach, because in each of those stories, it was actually about the relationships between a certain set of people.
I really like French.
I love the
I do
French
as well.
Dispatch,
I do
but
as
I
well.
also thought, I've said this on the podcast before, but I think the best thing he's done in a long time is the Roald Dahl shorts that he put on Netflix.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With
Oh,
Benedict
it's-
Cumberbatch,
yeah.
the
That
wonderful
one.
Mr. Sugar.
Yeah, A Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
There we go.
But the one that I loved the most was The Swan, which was Rupert Friend essentially just narrating a piece all by himself. But it gave him the chance to tell the narrative of that story without it being Wes Anderson doing the narrative of the story. Wes Anderson did everything around it, all the surrounding stuff, all the setup, all the blocking, all the sets, all the design, all the shots, and then left it to a really engaging actor to do all the story and the characterization of the other people. And I really, really loved it. And then stuff like Asteroid City, you look at and you go, this is fucking dreadful.
I
There is
agree
nothing.
so wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Nothing
I hated
going on in
Asteroid
this
City.
film. Yeah.
I hated
I
Asteroid City.
never got around to it.
No,
Just
I didn't.
because
I remember walking out of that. I remember walking because I was just like, it is just him doing it because he can, and it's
Isn't it
him, and it's.
just-
I hate that. It's like you're
I
driving
need-
yourself
I
off. Like,
need
go,
to-
stop.
yeah.
Oh, make it yellow.
Yeah,
Thanks,
exactly.
Wes. Cool.
I
It's
need
the same
to,
when Quentin gets in his own. It's just it's
Yes,
when you get
yeah,
too much in
absolutely.
your own little like. It's the same and a complete.
Guy
genre,
Ritchie's
but-
another one of those. As I need to hear a recommendation for a Wes Anderson film before I watch it.
Sure.
Because I don't want to sit through kind of someone showing me, well, there's a time and place
Yeah.
for someone to kind of sit through someone showing me pretty pictures, but I need to hear from someone that it's worth.
And this is us on the beach.
Well, listen. I will go through your camera roll.
description of a Wes Anderson film I've ever
There's a
heard.
brilliant Family Guy gag where they're watching the TV and the announcer goes, "We now return to Wes Anderson's pan up, pan down French song, The End." And it pans up and it pans down and there's someone who goes, "The Genoux," and then it comes out and Peter goes, "Wow, that was amazing, I think." That's most people showing me a Wes Anderson
Yeah.
film.
See, I feel like I sort of did this wrong. I spoke more about my fifth and fourth characters than I have about.
They speak for themselves.
They do.
My number one does speak
Well,
for themselves. I
you-
think
you
the,
and
the
I-
smart people in the
Yeah.
room would have figured it out by now.
Mm-hmm.
It's Vader.
I am your daddy man.
That's my favourite Vader quote. I love that.
I
It's
love
not just
that
Vader. It's Anakin and Vader.
Yeah.
It is
Mine
the same character.
mine is just Vader. I have to make that distinction.
Okay, you can make that distinction, and I think you're wrong.
Because we have to talk about it. Because we're not including
Yes,
TV in this,
talk about
remember?
We're not including TV, and therefore we can't use
Clone
Clone Wars. I know that. However, it's canon to the anyway.
Yeah.
It's canon for you now. So
Yeah.
I'm bringing it into my overall understanding of the character.
Yeah.
In the same way that when we talked about the Joker, I was bringing in my all the comic books and all the
Okay.
other things
Yeah.
into my understanding of the
Yeah.
character.
Well, because that's what makes a character your top character. So I
Yeah.
think that's fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
And for Vader, you start off with the original trilogy, and you have this just intimidating presence from day one with the voice and everything, and then you slowly start to get more and more backstory, and you start to feel not sympathetic yet, but you see the back of his head at the beginning of Empire and like the burn and everything.
Yeah.
And then you get introduced to the Emperor, and you find out that it's he's not the top dog. There's other things going on that
He's an attack dog.
he is he's a pawn, well, not a pawn, but he is a
Let's call him a bishop.
like he's like a knight or something.
Yeah. we know chess.
He is at the mercy of someone else.
Yeah.
And there's always been his big problem. I'm starting out as a slave, going into the Jedi Order, which not really much different. You're just a slave with a lightsaber and telekinesis. And then being a slave to the Empire, although it was sort of the bedding. We can talk for hours about.
He
his
never had
decisions
agency until he threw the Emperor down the hole.
Exactly, and even the times where he thought all his biggest decisions were him thinking that he has some further agency, and like Padme, and again a lot of the examples I'm going to bring up are part of the shows, but I'm going to refrain from that. Watching him, make the right decision, throwing the Emperor down, it's an amazing combination of this six film storyline and arc. And Star Wars just holds such a special place in my heart, and a big part of that is because of Hayden Christensen as Anakin and Vader as a concept and character.
So Vader was my number 4 pick, but I'm removing Anakin from it because I think a big part of the reason that Vader was my number 4 pick is because of the iconography. So I would not like Anakin Skywalker as a character if I'd watched the prequel trilogy if I hadn't seen the original trilogy. Right. I don't think that he stands on his own. Sure. I think that Vader does stand on his own.
Because the excitement of Anakin is the expectation.
That Vader's coming. But I'm going to talk about the iconography because just the voice, James Earl Jones giving not a career best performance because his play version of Fences was a career defining performance. That's thank you to me. But James L. Jones, and then you've got the sound design with his breathing. You've got the costume design, and you've got the imposing figure. So he was played on set by this guy called David Prowse, who was, I think he was a British bodybuilder at the time, under the impression that he would be
Scottish accent. Not what they want.
Under the impression that he would be doing the voice
Was he
as
Scottish?
well.
I think he was from the West Country.
No, he's English. He's English.
Luke, I am your father. I'm your brother as well.
Turns out. But another reason that he works so well is that you can put anyone in that suit, so you can mould the character and you can make him do whatever, because David Prowse cannot fence, surprisingly enough. But when you want Darth Vader to fence, you put Bob Anderson into that suit.
Damn.
Bob Anderson was this kind of fencing master, kind of combat specialist that was brought on for The Empire Strikes Back, because they wanted someone different to be in the suit, so that it could be a proper lightsaber fight, as opposed to what it was in A New Hope.
And that fight.
When A New Hope, look, fantastic film. That lightsaber fight, silly as fuck. So that is Obi-Wan does the slowest spin I've ever seen a human do, and Darth Vader's like, what the fuck?
And with different levels of speed.
It is just so lasting that the best scene in Disney Star Wars, arguably because I like the Rey Kylo throne room scene, is the corridor where it just lights up. It's red lightsaber, and you just hear it.
I was going to mention this.
Gave me chills, and that's why he had to be on my list. And he's number 4 because he's had too many bad goes of it to be any higher.
And I think you mentioned 2 scenes that I think are just some of my favourite Vader scenes of all time, and they are just combat-based scenes. But the one that you mentioned earlier was in Empire. It's the first time we see him properly fight, because we see Obi-Wan fight, but him fighting Luke, you just get a sense of how terrifying he is, because he's not just the better fighter, this physically imposing 6'2" figure who will mess you up, but he's smart, and you get that he is a general, he is smart, he is battle hardened, he knows what he's doing. Even in episode 3, he was a galaxy renowned general. So, and you get a sense of all of that from just the way that he's analysing Luke fighting. He notices that he's improved, and turns off his lightsaber and just goes, "You can't use the Force, mate." Just chuck stuff at him.
Get fucked. Well, he is the encapsulation of the dark side, isn't he? I mean, that's everything about the Empire is just sort of.
But that's why I brought in Anakin, because he's
sure,
the both. It's the balance. George Lucas cannot write dialogue.
George Lucas can't direct traffic.
I'm gonna make you watch Clone Wars.
I think
what? It's not the way to do it.
I'm not a big sci-fi in terms of movies. It takes a lot. Yeah, but it is
it becomes sci-fi, but originally fantasy.
It takes a lot for me to be that was a really good sci-fi. And I don't think it's bad, but I get why people like it. It's not.
No, fair enough.
It's a little bit like going oh, well, I don't really like TV. Well, have you tried Love Island? That's what I'm going to show you. That's not going to be the thing.
That's not the way to get.
He meant the Clone Wars as opposed to Attack of the Clones, though.
Either or.
Really? You don't like the Clone Wars show?
No.
Anyway.
They do. That's a
different time.
When you start a TV podcast, call me up.
A TV podcast.
Well, it's just the thing of being the Star Wars is a franchise that's more than half bad, and I'm having to invest in a million other things just to get the good bits,
Well,
that's why you start when you're 6 years old playing Lego Star Wars.
Of course.
And then you just
Lego Star Wars, on the other hand,
different story.
I can get behind.
Lego Star Wars.
I found out
I can do the Lego.
Vader was Luke's dad from the Lego Star Wars.
That's so funny.
Picture of the original trilogy game, not trilogy, the prequel game. Padme pregnant with Hayden Christensen's Lego figure there.
Yeah.
That's how I found out.
Listen, these Lego games.
Lego games.
This is why Lego Movie Emmett. I fucking love It was my
Come back
childhood.
round. It's come back round.
Yeah, it
Don't-
has.
yeah.
Listen,
The amount of times on this podcast that people have been like, I love this film because of the video game. I'm like, that's not what we're doing!
Stop it!
It's just a brief diversion, but there's someone on a podcast I listen to, that their friend's dad, there's, the scenes with Yoda when he's sort of hobbling around like an old man,
Yeah.
and he starts doing backflips and getting his stuff out.
So
and his
funny.
friend's dad just goes, tax dodging.
Okay, right.
Fantastic. Your number one pick.
And I
Let's give
would
us-
say I ummed and ahed about this for ages, and actually it was someone that wasn't even in my list, and
Right.
then I thought about it and went,
Number one.
that may well be number one on the list.
Okay.
Damn,
I wrote
okay.
an essay about this guy
Okay.
at school, and that was
wow.
that was very early on. I would have been about 13, 14, and it's still one of the performances that I look at and I go, the film hangs on you and your wisdom, your intelligence, and your voice,
Okay.
and what you mean to the
I like these
actual
contextual
location.
clues. Yeah.
So, and the quote's going to give it away.
Okay.
And I'm slightly annoyed that I'm not being more hipster than this, but
No,
whatever.
no.
More hipster.
This is why I had honorable mentions, but here we go.
Yeah.
So you go on and stamp your form, Sonny, and stop wasting my time. Because to tell you the truth, I don't give a shit.
Do we know?
Stamp your phone, Sonny.
You really, I was like, I'm gonna get it. No,
Yeah,
no.
no.
I'm terrible. I'm so bad with quotes, it's not, like,
I'm
No, hang
quite
on.
surprised that none of you got it.
No. I do know.
Stamp your form.
Oh, Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption.
There it is.
There we go.
Red.
Red.
Ellis Red Redding in Shawshank Redemption.
Fantastic.
That's, yeah.
It's the
Gets was 11.
His dad.
Yeah.
performance that captures resilience, friendship, redemption. But
Yeah.
he's the film's narrator, right? So we see a lot. Like, the story is told through his impression of what everyone else is like, and how he views everything. You know, the moment Andy Dufresne's walked into Shawshank, I knew he was fucked. Well, that's not what he says, but you know what I mean. Like, he's this kind of like mellifluous voice that sort of draws the audience into that prison and sets the scene for it, and it's like. He is what's amazing is the objective view he gives on the whole process and all the events that goes on in it, while that character himself is still reconciling with the fact that he has this thing in his past that he hates himself for every single day, and he beats himself up for it, and he goes, I want to go back and talk to that version of me again and tell him, don't be an idiot, like he's a stupid kid, you know, don't throw your life away. And he does all of that whilst sort of being this kind of overlooker of the entire process, knowing who to trust, who not to trust. Like, in terms of the dynamics of the prison, Red is really smart.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Andy makes the escape and it's his
Yeah.
brain and his, you know, cleverness that does all the actual route planning and all the working, like, you know, chiseling away and depositing the soil on the floor. But Red is the one who actually understands everything about that prison system except how to get himself out. And it's only when he's like 40 years down the line that he finally sits down in a meeting and goes, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I want to change that version of myself, but I can't. And so this is
Yeah.
what you got. So deal with it or don't.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, there's an honesty.
Damn.
Out
Yeah.
you go. And what's great about some of the details is so when Brooks gets released, the old man, he doesn't want to leave. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to go. And he does the whole trying to keep people hostage thing so he doesn't have to go.
Yeah.
And the shot, as he leaves the prison, he steps out and the prison is still in the background.
Yeah.
Then Morgan Freeman gets released later on in the film. He steps out and the camera is facing the other way. It's facing towards
It's him
the
to the
open
life
Yeah.
that he deserves.
and that's
has
what he
earned,
can
yeah.
get. It's a performance of subtlety from Morgan Freeman, but the character is kind of like a pragmatic, almost cynical man
Yeah.
who's almost resigned himself to where he is,
Yeah.
and is just trying
Well,
to
that's
make the
that's
best.
that's why you kind of fall in love with him, because
Yeah.
he's not Andy Dufresne where he's constantly unsatisfied with what he has, which, like, fair enough, you've been falsely accused of a crime and you're in prison.
Yeah.
But he is someone who has made peace with, well, not when you meet him, because he's obviously lying to the board to get out of prison.
Sure.
But he has largely made peace with where he is, who he is, and he, as you say, is just making a go of it. And that's he's got this business. He's kind of a self-made man in this prison. He doesn't have to rely on the pity or kind of love of others.
Yeah.
And you instantly respect him and because he respects Dufresne. I think that's an important point as
Yeah.
well. It's like you start respecting Dufresne a lot more when
Yeah,
he
you do,
does.
because he does. Yeah, his evaluation of people carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And then as his friendship with Andy grows, so does his capacity for like hope. He starts becoming a more positive figure as he gets to know Andy better. And you watch. That's why those characters are so important, because, like, yeah, we're following what Andy's doing, and that's, like, the big crux of everything. But if you don't believe in Andy's ability to give him a new perspective in life, then you kind of don't believe in the whole thing. And it is one of the best films, I think, ever made.
Yeah.
Damn.
I can't think of a character who, over the course of one film, takes you through a range of feelings or goes from such a different place from start to finish without actually, moving, essentially. He stays in the same place and is a completely different person by the end. But like, I don't understand how Frank Darabont can be like, just drop in and make 2 films and then just fuck off. Yeah, cool, peace.
Is it? Did he make the Green Mile as well?
Wow.
Ellie, you've very patiently got
Raising
your
my
hand up
hand.
again. Yeah.
Well, I was just. What was the essay? Like, what was the essay question? Why did you write about him? Was it about a film character?
It was just an English lesson. It was like, analyse a film character through...
Okay.
Morgan Freeman's eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And at the start, I just remember the start of the lesson, him being like, right, so I'm going to say this task, but you don't pick a stupid film. And so I was like, put your hand up with who you want. And everyone put their hand up about to, let's say who they were going to talk about. And he goes, but it can't be ridiculous. And 95% of the class was just going, oh, shit. And it's like everyone was going to
And you were like, I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd be like, well, this guy is a bit different, but everyone was going to talk about, like,
I want to talk about the Joker, baby.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Hang on. Do not chat
Chicken
shit.
Brett has now been
Chicken
retconned into my...
You cannot talk badly about films directed by what they called again. It's the same directors as the Lego Movie.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yes,
Fucking
there you
hell.
go. Lord and Miller. That's
Yeah,
it.
they're the best.
Didn't they do Jump Street as well?
Yeah, they did.
Good one.
But if I was thinking about you, because he's an emotional character, he's someone who moves you, and then by the end of it, when he reads the letter, like the great bit about that film is when he gets out without him wanting to go and meet Andy, he would end up exactly the same as Brooks did, and that breaks your heart. And then he goes and finds the letter under the tree and's like, here's where to go, and he finally has something to do with himself. Go and find Andy again, and it's like, thank God for that. Like, it just shows that he's like, he's the one out of all of them would have the emotional intelligence to serve his time in prison, understand how that works perfectly, and then actually get out 40 years later and be able to adjust himself back into the law.
Slightly kind of misguided, because he is a testament to the American prison system.
Seemingly.
Which is one of the worst.
What I would say is, like, yes, you're right,
bad.
but also, he has the chance to get out in his parole meetings a lot earlier. And just by saying what he thinks he should say, he doesn't.
And you can see that this man should never have been in. Like,
Yeah.
it's in
Obviously,
that way.
he
he's
did the
not.
crime, but it shouldn't have been a 40-year sentence.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
But I think that's an incredible number 1 pick.
Thank you.
And
Just before we wrap up,
yes.
given that this is a Christmas special,
Yes.
I want to know.
You should have told us that.
Well, I did. I only decided that earlier, but
Well, I hope the audience can feel that we've been giving really Christmassy vibes.
Full Christmas
this entire
Super
time.
Christmas.
no, the main. But like, I like giving people like a conversation to listen to at Christmas, and this was very much like that. So,
Of course.
But I have also already done favourite Christmas films. But what I want to know is, what are your favourite Christmas films?
Okay.
What's your go-to?
Mine
We had
Can
this
I say what I
conversation.
hate?
Mine is going to be
You can say what you hate.
No, wait.
yes.
Let me really think about this.
I can tell you mine if just as a building block.
Yeah.
Mine is really obscure. It's weird, but it's Arthur Christmas.
No
way.
I've
Zach-
told
talked
Ella
about
that
this,
I need to
really?
show her
Zach
Arthur
literally
Christmas.
turned to me yesterday and was like, "When can we see Arthur Christmas?" I've
It's
never
the
seen
best.
it.
It is so Arthur Christmas is the best Christmas movie.
Yeah.
But my favourite is Polar Express. And you can hate me all you want.
Wow.
You can hate
I
me
do
all
know
you
right
hate
now,
you.
right
I
now,
do
if you
hate
go
you.
down to Waverley, you can get on one.
want.
I'm not even kidding.
No, yeah.
While we were shooting,
We were shooting.
We were
Okay,
shooting
you guys
a
weren't
film.
there. We saw the Polar Express go. It literally said Polar Express. It was
Oh
a
my
steam
God.
train.
Well,
and it
Ella,
went
Ella and I were on the set of the film that we've just made, and
Yeah.
as we were shooting, a massive fuck-off steam train goes past, and it said the Polar Express on it, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And I was in Waverley the other day.
I need that.
And they've got like a full thing.
Well, Tom
They're
Hanks.
just doing it. They're just giving it up like a experience
Okay.
for kids and stuff to go
One,
enjoy.
That's
one,
amazing.
one sentence.
The kids.
One,
Well, if it goes, if it's a 48-year-old man
Okay,
going,
let's
let's
go
go
to
to
the
There might be.
have- you
That's
have
a
us-
separate issue.
there will be
That's
us
a separate
Yeah, there will-
issue.
Get the whole chocolates with Tom Hanks, okay?
Okay.
Can I do it's not a movie, it's an episode? Mm-hmm. Does that work?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The South Park Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo episode?
Yes.
No, I want to give it just a little, because it's a tradition with my neighborhood and my family, so it's just like, but it's also it's just
Your neighborhood
fun.
Christmas tradition is
Yeah, so when we were all really young, listen, my dad shows us things really young, and we were all like really, really young. My dad goes, I have a great idea, and he puts it on, and it's just like, we just go with it, and then it's like, and then the bitch song goes along where he's singing like, your mom's a bitch, and all of the other parents are like, oh God, and my dad's like, yeah, and it's great, and now we watch it every Christmas.
This is why he's Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. Anyone ever heard the Mark Wahlberg story where he realised he was going to be working with
He
Seth
said he could have
MacFarlane?
stopped 9/11.
Not that one, but that one is wild. When he realised he was going to be working with Seth MacFarlane for Ted, and so he started watching Family Guy. But he was like, "It's a cartoon. I didn't know it wasn't for kids." So he sat there watching it with his kids, and it's the 100th episode where they start going back in time, and then Stewie craps in his pants and makes him clean it, and then throws up and makes him eat it, and they're all having a whale of a time. And his wife walks in and is like, "What's going on? I want to be a part of it." And looks and sees it trying, and goes like, "Oh my God!" and runs and like turns it off, and he's in trouble for like 2 weeks.
That's
He's like, what the hell are you showing our kids?
That's Rick and Morty for my
Yeah.
when we were young. But I was like, I heard of this like really funky. It's like aliens, time travel. It might be a bit inappropriate. We get to I don't remember what point, and it just goes so crazy, and we're all watching there, and we're like, well, it's too late to stop, and so we just continue with the series. But yeah, my dad just historically shows us to you. So yeah, Mr. Hanky the Christmas, it's lovely. I think actually at Home Alone 2, I just fucking love. I just think it's great. I love a little, like a kid said it, booby trapping. I just think it's fun. New York, like
Excuse me,
Home
which way am I
Alone.
going? Straight down the hall.
And a Trump cameo on
cameos.
Listen, great. But yeah, that's mine.
Why I love the Polar Express.
Creepy, those creepy little faces.
But you've got.
Looks completely fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Listen,
They're creepy little freaky.
I don't care. It's got the best score of any Christmas film ever. It's Alan Silvestri at his best.
Oh, to be fair.
It's
you are a music guy, so let's say.
it's Alan Silvestri's
Alan
best
Silvestri
score,
is
better than the
amazing.
Avengers, better than anything he's ever done. It's also it's just fun. I like trains. They're on a train, guys.
That should have been your 3 words. I like trains.
They're on a train, and it's going through snow, and they go on the roof of the train, and then they ski on it. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the best.
Watch Snowpiercer then.
What? No, listen, they don't ski on it.
It's true.
But anyway, listen, Namir, it is your turn to wrap us up with your favourite Christmas
no,
film.
that's actually really disappointing because I grew up basically without a Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
Because my family doesn't celebrate, and it wasn't until I was like 16
Sure.
Yeah.
until I started celebrating Christmas. And at that point, the only 2 Christmas films that I'd watched were Die Hard and Iron Man 3.
Very good, very good.
They're not Christmas films.
Oh, no.
Thanks for listening to the podcast.
No, this has been good.
Okay, so
Every Shane Black film is a Christmas film, and Die Hard is a Christmas
How is
film.
Die Hard not a Christmas film?
I just think
it's
it's
at
a film
Christmas.
you watch
It's
at
about
Christmas.
a man who's
But
trying
I
to get back
don't-
to his family for Christmas.
It's. I would argue the opposite.
Okay.
It's more of a Christmas film than a film you watch at Christmas.
Perhaps. Maybe I just wanted to be controversial.
South Park? No, that's the essence of Christmas.
I didn't say it was the essence, okay? You know
I
what?
can take that for
Never
Iron Man
mind.
3.
Iron Man 3, I think you get less pushback on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, no. I
But
agree.
every Shane Black film is a Christmas film.
But my real answer, and it's because I have watched it every Christmas since, is Love Actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
When I
And
first watched it, I hated it. My whole family did. My mom was
Same,
like,
right?
"Oh my God, British staple, you guys gotta watch it." We all watched it, and we all looked at each other and were like, "We hate it." And then I rewatched it, and I was like, "Actually, I really like it."
It's another.
But I needed
of
to
those-
spend a year in the UK first, actually, and then I liked
okay,
it.
that makes sense. Well, I think, what 3 words were they?
Colin, sex god.
Yes.
Colin sex.
I was gonna say feels like home, but
Oh,
Colin's sex
Oh.
There you go. But anyway,
Yeah, it's good though.
very good. And Richard Curtis once again with another
Yeah, he's
fantastic.
back.
kind of-
He's back.
Look, he can't write for women for shit, but he can
I
certainly.
keep seeing things about the politics of Love Actually that are like, none of the women have any agency in it. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
No,
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 it's
They- they-
yeah.
they
It's
keep-
not about the agency of the women in that.
They-
one.
they
Keira Knightley
keep-
was
No
also
one's
about
watching it for
16.
the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No one's watching it for the nuance.
They keep
Yeah, I
calling
feel
the
like
kind
that's-
of the secretary fat, and she's just not.
No, that's like
No,
that's
like she's
like Bridget Jones. Sorry, that's just like early
Yeah.
Brit. Like what's
Britain's particularly
Britain's
bad for that.
problem with fat phobia.
Britain-
It's
Britain's
crazy.
awful.
What the the fuck are they doing over there? What?
You watch those early kind of 2000s reality shows. It's just like we're hanging with a family, but they're terrible because they're fat.
I'm here to meet a family of whales.
It's horrible.
Let's go see if we can get them through the door.
Just laughing.
Honestly, it's nuts.
It's crazy.
Dom, thank you very much for having us on.
Yeah, thanks, Dom.
Thank you for coming
Long
by.
time having, but
Well, thank you for coming by.
That's all, yeah, well, I came to you, but you brought the conversation to me.
Well, I mean, you brought the notes on your laptop.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
You picked each of our top fives.
This is all a lie. This is a lie.
We've been reading from a teleprompter.
I will leave you with some of my favourite Christmas dialogue ever.
Yes.
Some of my favourite film dialogue ever, which
Okay.
comes from the Die Hard movies.
Okay.
It's Alan Rickman.
Okay.
And he goes, Mr. Bakagi, I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4. And then he shoots him, right? And then he goes downstairs to where everyone's gathered around having dinner and goes, Mr. Bakagi won't be joining us for the rest of his life. And then he sits down. I was just watching that.
Exactly. I just
love
yes.
So
Yeah.
cool. And Alan Rickman.
Oh, Alan Rickman.
That late into just getting that.
Yeah,
fantastic.
incredible.
Unreal.
Great impression too.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Brought it home.
Well, okay, Zach, you've got an EP out.
Oh, am I allowed to plug?
Yeah, plug away. People can go and listen to it.
I get to plug one thing at the end. So
Do it.
I'd like to thank you for allowing me, Dom. And yes, I do have an EP out. It's called Get My Good Side. It's by the band Dear Heather. And give it a listen.
Spotify.
It's on Spotify. It's on all your music platforms.
And it
Give
fucking
it.
slaps.
It slaps.
I do hate to sing his praises, but sometimes you have to.
It's worth it.
Give
It's
it-
so good.
Yeah, give it a listen if you've got kind of a half an hour spare and you want to hear a bunch of silly boys singing silly tunes. But yeah, thank you.
That's all right. And then obviously you've got Memento and everything going on there.
I
So-
plug a. Well, there's not really much to plug, to be honest.
Well, presumably
we've
the
got
film that you two directed.
Oh, yeah, it's-
that we were in.
Yeah, well, so that film, we need to watch that.
Well, we
cut
just
that
got a rough
have.
cut, so
we
we'll
just
do
got
that.
another rough
Another
cut
rough
that's
cut.
getting closer to a final cut.
Every time I see you, it's we just got a rough cut.
So it's been taking.
It's been taking a while.
So it'll premiere next semester. That's the.
right.
It will premiere next semester.
Okay.
It's just like it'll happen.
It will happen.
It will happen.
And it may or may not be shown in the Edinburgh Inter-University Film Festival.
Come on.
Oh, there's your plug.
Yeah, man.
Uninvited plug.
Yeah, on my notes, I've got Zach's Dear Heather
Yeah.
stuff. I've got Ella's Memento and film stuff, and then I've put them in. Anything? For you?
So
He's got a
I
lot
am
to
running
be
a
proud
film
about.
festival.
Oh, well, that's good. That'll do. That's
happening
a
in
good
June, UK-wide, here in Edinburgh.
yeah,
Exciting things.
guys,
Yeah,
we're
very
doing
exciting.
shit. We're making
one.
shit.
We're making things happen.
Yeah, we are.
Even if.
Big things coming. Fire emojis.
Well, thank you three. Very much appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
by.
Thank
We'll
you,
do it
Dom.
again sometime.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we will.
I'd
Yes,
love to
please.
come
Lots
back.
to talk about.
Yes, so much.
And yeah, see you again
See you.
soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.